painting is called An Ode to Manet. And I think in many ways that this painting, we're looking at it as the last painting in the show. It was not the last painting that was painted for this show, but I think that this painting really puts forward what I think my work is about. I have spoken before about my interest in art history and interest in the human condition and in the beauty of the human body and in color as a way to express all of those things. But I also like to reflect on two artists. One of them is Masaccio, who was a man who only painted from the age of 21 to 27. He was a pre-Renaissance man. He painted in the 1400s. And he brought the past into the present in his painting, in that he brought the beautiful bodies of Giotto into an art which was going to begin the Renaissance in painting. The art that existed then, that began the Renaissance, was architecture, and through architecture, real measurable perspective had been discovered. The young man Masaccio brought the figures of Giotto into the perspective of architecture and then launched the painting which we would be known as the Renaissance. In the 1800s, 400 years later, Manet also tried to unite the past with the present. And what he did was to bring very traditional kind of painting into an abstract field, in that he placed his objects or his people as if they were still lifes sitting in a plane, and therefore began what we might consider to be an abstract art that would come to fruition in his lifetime in the 1900s of the 20th century. One of the great examples of that is this painting, A Troubadour, in which the figure lies as a still life almost in the middle of a space with very monochromatic colors. Now, Manet was tremendously interested in white. He was interested in gray, and he felt that the figure was really simply an excuse for making a painting. So he too bridged a gap that had been left by a very severe perspective in the Renaissance. I feel that I have learned many lessons from Masaccio and from Manet. You can see clearly my ode to Manet certainly is my understanding of white cloth, and also the use of the monochromatic colors of brown and black. And also in this figure, the problem of having him walk through space while still remaining very flat on the picture plane and quite abstract. His mitt is really quite abstract. I would venture to say that there are two differences between my approach and Manet's. One of them is that I tend to take some more risks with color than he did, although he later embraced a great deal of the impressionistic colors and moved into a brighter palette. But the other thing is that I like to think that my bridging the past with the present comes from using the lessons of the Renaissance and of the 20th century abstract painters, but that I feel that what I want to, and I hope that I achieve, is to add the emotional power to the individual, which Manet had systematically left out because he was using the object as a still life. He wasn't interested in the human emotion that is emoted. So that's my goal. I also feel that trying to have a individual move in space and continue these colors is somewhat of a challenge. This painting took quite a long time before it did move, and one day I found myself talking to myself in the studio, sitting down on the floor trying to paint this armor on his legs and saying to him, come on, move, move, move. And then reading only a few weeks ago when I was looking through my Richard Diebenkorn books that he always talked to his paintings, that he constantly asked them to please move. So I thought perhaps I hadn't totally lost my mind after all. And again, I like to think of the psychological ambiguity in this, that you don't really know what the protest is about, that there certainly is armor involved here, and he can be recognizable as a catcher, but he also is a protester who comes out up of the abyss, and he can be whatever the viewer wants him to be. So I think in this painting, perhaps one of the things that comes together for me here are all of the experiences that have helped me to see from the inside out, from the outside in, and also on a more psychological level of the kind of emotion that comes out of the body and makes, hopefully, contact with you, the viewer. So I hope in my work that what I see will help you see what you see every day in your lives, and that you will enjoy it as much as I.